Think about the last time you negotiated something. Maybe it was a raise at work, a lower price on a car, or even just deciding where to go for dinner with a stubborn friend. You probably walked away thinking, we met in the middle. That's fair. But what if the middle was exactly where they wanted you from the start? There's a dark psychological anomaly known as the door in the face technique. It is the exact opposite of the foot in the door strategy. Instead of starting small to build a habit, a master persuader starts with a demand so massive, so completely unreasonable, that they know you will slam the door in their face. They want you to say no. In fact, their entire strategy depends on your initial rejection. Today, we are breaking down the anatomy of the compromise trap. By the end of this video, you will understand how your brain treats politeness as a survival mechanism, and how dangerous people exploit that evolutionary glitch to make you comply with things you never wanted to do. Why does this work so flawlessly on the human brain? It relies on a psychological concept called perceptual contrast. Human beings do not evaluate value or weight in a vacuum. We evaluate things based on what came right before them. If I ask you to lift a 100-pound weight and then immediately hand you a 20-pound weight, that 20-pound weight feels lighter than it actually is. Your sensory system has been recalibrated by the extreme stimulus. When a manipulator asks you for a massive favor, let's say donating $1,000 to a cause, your psychological defenses spike. You say no, but when they immediately follow up with, okay, I understand, could you at least donate $5? That $5 request looks microscopic. It feels insignificant compared to the $1,000. If they had asked you for the $5 up front, you might have still paused or refused. But placed in the shadow of a giant demand, your brain perceives it as a tiny concession. You aren't processing the actual value of the second request. You're only seeing the distance between the first choice and the second. But perceptual contrast is only half the trap. The real engine behind this tactic is social reciprocity. Society has conditioned us from childhood to believe that human interaction is a series of give-and-take transactions. When someone makes a massive demand and you reject it, a microdose of social guilt triggers in your limbic system. You have disrupted the social harmony. Suddenly, the other person steps back. They lower their demand. They say, all right, I'll compromise for you. Your brain misinterprets their lowered demand as a personal favor. It thinks they made a concession for me, so I owe them a concession in return. To pay back this invisible social debt, you say yes to the smaller request. You feel a wave of relief because the tension is gone. But look closely at the math. They didn't actually lose anything. They simply pulled back an imaginary demand to make you surrender your boundaries willingly. They weaponized your desire to be seen as a reasonable, polite human being. You see this played out in high-stakes environments every single day. Corporate negotiation teams will enter a boardroom with a list of demands they know are illegal or impossible. Why? Because it sets the anchor point. When they voluntarily strike those items from a list during negotiations, the remaining items, the things they actually wanted, pass through without a fight. It happens in retail constantly. A salesperson shows you a $5,000 watch first. Your brain registers it as expensive. When they later point to a $500 watch, your brain registers it as a discount, even if $500 is still way over your budget. You buy it because the anchor made it look safe. In personal relationships, it looks like this. A toxic partner suggests an extreme lifestyle change or an unfair boundary. When you react with shock, they back down and ask for a minor sacrifice instead. You agree to the minor sacrifice because it feels small by comparison, completely missing the fact that your boundaries were just breached without a single argument. So, How do you break a trap that is wired directly into your evolutionary programming? The answer is structural awareness. The moment someone drops an absurd demand on you, do not get angry. Do not over-explain. Recognize it immediately as an anchor. When they pull back and offer the smaller, reasonable request, pause. Ask yourself one question. If this person walked up to me and asked for this smaller thing first, without the big drama, would I still say yes? If the answer is no, then your answer remains no. You do not owe a concession to someone who is playing a game of chicken with your boundaries. Politeness is a virtue, but compliance under structural manipulation is a choice. You see, 90% of people go through life being played by rules they don't even know exist. But you don't have to be one of them. I spend hours digging through these psychological archives so you can build a mental shield against these tactics. Hit the subscribe button and join a community that refuses to be played. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a gut feeling about someone that turned out to be 100% true? Or maybe you've caught someone using these exact tactics on you. Drop the word shadow in the comments below if you want the advanced formula to break these spells. I read and reply to as many as I can. Stay aware, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.